here, take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Slowly start to bring some movement into your body, really gently through the toes, the fingers, neck, shoulders. If it feels good to extend your legs, go ahead. So after staying in these 5 minutes, not 60 minutes for sake of time, 5 minutes of seated meditation, once you've come back to yourself, and what was your experience? What arose during those 5 minutes, and how did you feel?
I felt lightless.
Lightless?
Yeah, I felt like, yeah. I could feel like I was falling asleep too.
Okay. Sleepiness?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My mind was really busy.
Busy mind?
Yes, thinking about all I have to do before I go to Mexico tomorrow.
How many margaritas you're gonna be able to drink? Anyone else?
I felt like the word that comes to mind is buoyancy. I felt like I was floating.
Floating? Okay.
But then I start to think about something and have to like go back.
Yeah. All right.
I try not to think, which is sometimes when you do a meditation, and it's so hard.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Yeah. Try not to think. Okay. Anyone else?
I felt in tune, like to my body. Like I kind of could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
The aches or pain. Like I kind of just felt in tune with it. What's going on?
Yeah. So good and bad.
Yeah, good and
Okay.
bad. Mhm.
Okay. Good and bad. Anyone else want to share?
Well, kind of similar to Mindy, I felt really good and positive at first, and then I realized I couldn't keep my legs crossed anymore. And I had
Yeah.
pain. So then I was, when is this 5 minutes?
Yeah. Well, thank God it was not the full 60, right? So today we're going to talk about the 5 enemies of your practice, or hindrances. So the 5 enemies, and when you think about those enemies, they're pretty much your friends, because they are going to help you along your journey in yoga and meditation. So the enemies are basically mental factors or obstacles to your practice that are going to hinder your practice. So the first one is sloth or torpor. And it reminds me of the word in French, torpeur, means a lack or decrease in activity, but not to the point where you become unconscious. So it's kind of like sleepiness. Your body feels heavy, your mind feels dull, and sometimes we have that when we work out, or we want to go to yoga, where we put yoga in our schedule or workouts in our schedule, and we're like, oh my God, I just feel like I ate too much, or didn't sleep too much, enough, and I just don't want to go, and maybe that's a good excuse for not go and do my practice, right? The second one is agitation, and that one is pretty huge. It's where your mind just starts, and it's like that hamster wheel, and it's one thing after another. And the laundry, and did I put clothes for my kid to go to school? And or this happens when yesterday I was telling my husband, okay, I need to go into the office and get this, and as soon as I get into the office, I'm like, what am I here for again? Because I thought about 5 things in between, and that's the agitation. We get that in our meditation. We also have that when we're practicing yoga. You know, sometimes when I'm in a flow, I realize, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do next? Because I just thought, did I turn my phone off? You know, so that happens. So these are pretty much the opposite from one another. I should use my little eraser thing. So these are pretty much opposites. Then we have what we call a craving. What would that be? Craving is something that you want to get and then you're not at just yet.
Mexico.
And that you might not be at this.
Going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Huh?
Going to Mexico. I'm craving going to Mexico.
Okay. But how does it translate in your practice?
Because I'm thinking about being there instead of being present.
You can't wait to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah, you can't wait to get there. And in your
You're
practice,
not
how would
there.
that translate?
Because you're trying to get somewhere so you're not satisfied with where you're at.
Yeah. You want to be someone else. How can I not get into the handstand she's in? How can I not get into Birds of Paradise? I want to do that. And then you're just, you know, hindering yourself from getting to that goal because you're so focused on not being there that you're stopping yourself from going to where you want. And the opposite of the craving is the aversion. Comes back to what Jody was saying, when are these 5 minutes going to be over? Yeah, I do not want to be here. I hate doing 5-minute planks in logs, and I'm not going to do it. I'm doing child's pose. Right? So these are things that come up, whether you're a new yogi, it's your first time on your mat, I think that you pretty much suffer from agitation when you come in onto your mat the first time, or that sluggishness. My doctor told me I had to do this, but I really don't want to, but I'm here anyways, kind of thing. And then the craving and aversion probably comes once you know more about the practice. The last obstacle is doubt, and doubt is a huge obstacle in your practice. You have 3 forms of doubt. The first one is the doubt of the practice itself. How many times have I not heard, why do you do yoga, it's so boring? It's just a waste of your time in your life, why do you do that? And this may even happen if you've practiced yoga for a long time, but you're like, oh, I'm gonna try out Kundalini, what is this all about? And then you realize, oh my God, this is scary, or I don't know if any one of you have practiced Kundalini. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah. And so behind that, and that's what I've learned from that, is why are these fears coming up? What are those fears going to give you as a lesson in your journey, right? Could you say that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fear of looking goofy.
And you, Carrie?
Yes,
I know
it's
you
just a
practice.
really unique practice, so
Yeah.
you have to not care what you sound like or look like.
Yeah. And then you have the doubt of the teacher. This could relate to expectations of what a teacher should look like, you know, with, I don't know, dreadlocks and piercings and unshaven armpits and tattoos.
Loose flowing pants.
Yeah. And the teacher is not there to, and we can say this as there are a few teachers in here, you're not representing, how can I say this? You're not a representation, you are a guide for the people who come to you, but their expectations of what you should be or how you should sound, what music you should play does not belong to you. If you have a problem with the teacher, you should look within yourself to see what is that fear of the teacher that you have. And then the last doubt is, what would it be?
Out of yourself.
Yeah. And that's the biggest one. For the teachers in the room, how many times have you told yourself during your yoga teacher training, I can never do this. I can never lead anyone through a Sunday. I said it 1,000 times and I cried over it. I will never be able to do this. And this is probably the biggest hindrance to your practice, is putting that doubt in yourself as a teacher, as a guide. And all of these are all the hindrances. So these 5: sloth, agitation, craving, aversion, and doubt are all fears of self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is sometimes somewhere that we don't want to go towards because you don't know what's going to come up of it, trauma or past experiences that you've dug deep under the rug, and oh my God, this is happening to me again. And you know, sometimes you just have those emotions and you face them. Well, you don't want to face them, so you just run away. But it's when you actually walk through your fears that you learn and you go deeper into your own practice, whether it's meditation or yoga, and you become your authentic self and find your truth. That's what we're here for, right? Alrighty. So, biggest thing here is that when these fears appear, is just to recognize that it's a fear, to accept it. It's kind of like when you have those thoughts come into your mind and you just acknowledge their presence, and then to just be curious as to why they come up, and that's how you grow, stronger in your practice. All right. Any questions? No. Let's flow.
Success.
All right.